Now, from the station named Outstanding News Operation by the Associated Press, this is News 4 at 11.
Tonight, a man once charged with killing a police officer is with his family celebrating his release from jail.
No comment.
Good evening, I'm Jim Vance. Doreen is off tonight. 26-year-old Jeffrey Gilbert walked out of jail tonight a free man, at least for now. Suzanne Malveaux has our story.
After 5 weeks, Jeffrey Gilbert warily walked out of Prince George's County Detention Center, clinging to cheering family members and friends.
Praise the Lord. I'm happy to be out.
Gilbert had been badly beaten by Prince George's County Police when he was taken into their custody for allegedly killing one of their own. Police say he resisted arrest.
Thank you.
The way the police treated you. Gilbert, shaken and near tears, could only nod his head as he was whisked away for a private celebration with relatives. It was just last week the state's attorney's office dropped the murder charges. They discovered the slain Sergeant John Novobilski's stolen pistol on 29-year-old Ralph McLean. McLean had opened fire in a Greenbelt parking lot, killing an FBI agent before turning the gun on himself. Gilbert's stepfather, Robert Lee Green, says the family is angry about how Gilbert has been treated.
They're thugs. The element that came into my house were thugs. Thugs. T-H-U-G-S.
Gilbert's dealing with Prince George's County Police is far from over, as attorneys say that he will file suit, either in federal or local court, against the president for using excessive force. Gilbert is also due back in court himself on June 19th, facing armed robbery charges. Suzanne Malveaux, News 4 in Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
Another blow for the defense tonight in the O.J. Simpson trial. This evening, an appeals court denied a defense request to reinstate one of 2 jurors who were dismissed today. Judge Lance Ito ordered the jurors dismissed at the beginning of today's court session.
The court found good cause to dismiss 2 of the jurors presently seated.
One juror dismissed has been identified as 28-year-old Farron Chavaria. She is a real estate appraiser. The other juror has not been identified. He is said to be a 54-year-old African-American man who works for the post office. The defense tried but failed tonight to get him reinstated. With the dismissals today, only 2 alternates remain on the panel. Also today, the defense requested that Simpson be allowed to leave the courtroom when the coroner presents photographs of the bloody murder scene. Judge Ito did not rule on that defense motion. In world news tonight, there is a possible glimmer of hope for the U.S. pilot shot down over Bosnia. U.S. officials have reportedly received signals from the pilot's downed F-16 warplane. That plane crashed into Serbian-held territory on Friday after apparently being hit by a Serbian surface-to-air missile. Officials say the signals have been in patterns, as if someone were sending them deliberately. But they don't know if the signals mean the pilot is alive. A search and rescue operation has been underway since that plane went down. Meanwhile, about 3,500 U.S. Army troops and 100 helicopters are being prepared for a possible rescue of United Nations peacekeepers in Bosnia. That force is moving into several bases in Italy to be in position in case the peacekeepers need to be withdrawn. The U.S. troops would be part of a NATO force. Over the weekend, President Clinton was the subject of much criticism from Republicans who accused him of flip-flopping on the Bosnian issue.
It is easy to criticize this policy on Bosnia because it's not neat, it's not perfect, and sometimes it is ugly.
Also tonight, congressional leaders have summoned Defense Secretary William Perry and Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General John Saakashvili to testify on Bosnia on Wednesday. President Clinton did not speak publicly about Bosnia during the day, but he did address the subject tonight during a joint appearance with Vice President Al Gore on the Larry King Live show. The president said deaths in the Bosnian conflict have gone down dramatically in the last 2 years, and he said some progress is being made.
I'm not happy with everything that's happened in Bosnia. I wish there was some clear-cut answer. I don't think we should have ground troops there in combat or in the peacekeeping force.
At all?
No. I've said what I think. If they make a peace, they stop fighting, they want us to help police it like we have in the Middle East since the late 70s, that's something that we would consider doing after consultation with Congress. If our people if the UN has to pull out, they're our NATO allies, and they need us, I'd be inclined to help them. If they get stranded and they're in desperate conditions, I'd be inclined to help them.
On other topics, the president says he intends to keep Al Gore on his re-election ticket next year. And he says he regrets the order to close Pennsylvania Avenue to traffic, but he says the area has become even more popular with tourists and pedestrians. It was a noisy start tonight for House Speaker Newt Gingrich's book tour. The speaker traveled to Chicago to promote his upcoming book at the American Booksellers Convention. Before he could get started, though, several local activists tried to shout him down.
Why I wanted to write a book. The kind of nonsense yelling and screaming that all too often substitutes for political debate in America.
Eventually, the demonstrators were hustled from the hall. Gingrich's book, called To Renew America, is due out at the end of June. It was the subject of much controversy when Gingrich originally planned to accept a $4.5 million advance to write it. An unusual twist tonight in a massive drug indictment. Federal officials brought charges against more than 60 suspects associated with Colombia's notorious Cali cocaine cartel. And among those charged are 3 former Justice Department lawyers. Federal officials say the Cali cartel is responsible for 80% of the cocaine that comes into the U.S. That indictment charges the top leaders of the cartel as well as the top distributors in the U.S. of conspiring to smuggle drugs. The former Justice Department lawyers include the man who once headed the unit that extradited drug criminals to the U.S.
This case, I think, represents a major blow against one of the biggest problems we have in this country today. It is a case that hits people at the top. It is a case that hits distributors. And yes, it is a case that addresses and brings criminal charges against attorneys.
The charges against the former Justice Department lawyers stem from their activities after they left the government. Coming up on News 4, suburban neighborhoods stunned by reports of alleged sex abuse by an 8-year-old boy. Another baby for one of the world's most famous faces. And in sports, George.
Baseball's big man from Seattle sets down the Orioles with impressive ease. After a weekend of upsets, the men's defending champion remains alive at the French Open. And while the Magic were celebrating last night, turns out the Pacers were steaming in defeat. As News 4 at 11 continues, we'll explain.
You're watching News 4 with Jim Vance, Doreen Gensler, Bob Ryan Weather, and George Michael Sports. This is News 4 at 11, working for you.
News 4 at 11 is sponsored by Staples, the office superstore.
The police in Prince George's County say they have not decided yet whether to charge an 8-year-old boy with raping a 6-year-old girl. Police say the alleged attack took place in a quiet neighborhood in Temple Hills, Maryland. They say the abuse allegedly happened over a period of time, but it wasn't until this past weekend that the 6-year-old told her mother.
It appears right now that she had a younger sister who showed signs of some type of sexual abuse. The mother then confronted the older sister, who then told her mom what had been going on over the last few months with the 8-year-old, and that's how it came to the attention of the police department.
Police say the sexual assault case of the younger sister is separate from the 6-year-old, and the 8-year-old is not involved. Neighbors say they're surprised by what has happened.
I guess it's just I don't know, a common denominator of the way society is now. Too much of that mess is on television and exposes the kids to it. They see it, they want to do it, take advantage of whoever they can. I don't understand it.
Police say neither of the girls was seriously injured in the alleged attacks. The Fairfax County school budget tonight voted to cancel summer school, and that is just one move being made to comply with an order from the county supervisors to cut $33 million from next year's budget. Teachers and administrators also were hit hard. All employees have to wait until next April to see a raise in their paychecks. The cost of living adjustment was put off for 9 months. The school board also decided tonight to eliminate 83 administration positions.
This is an evening that no school board member can enjoy. We simply, however, need to identify $33 million in cuts from our proposed budget. We will do the very best we can to protect the instructional integrity of the classroom and still keep our salaries competitive with surrounding jurisdictions.
I hope that the school board, makes fair decisions, and the bad thing is almost all their choices are bad choices. But the biggest blame, as far as I'm concerned, goes back to the Board of Supervisors, and I'm here to tell you that teachers are voters, and they have lots of neighbors in this county, and we've yielded some really strong influence in some of the races in this county, and the politicians know it, and we are going to be watching.
It is illegal for teachers to strike in Virginia, but members of the Education Association say they will meet later this week to map out a strategy now that the board has approved the budget cuts. Students and teachers at T.C. Williams High School in Alexandria were tested today for tuberculosis. The school reported last week that a student was diagnosed with the disease, so the Alexandria Health Department ordered the free TB test for 200 kids and teachers who might have come in contact with the student. The test results should be in by Wednesday. In the meantime, parents are being told to see a doctor immediately if they think their child might be ill. Bob Ryan up next. Forecast. What's it look like?
Allison, getting weaker.
She's down there.
She's down there. Well, she may still affect us a little bit. I'll tell you how. Stay with us.
So what's going to be, Bob? Wet, dry?
A little bit. Yeah, well, that too. That's right. That's
All
a bit
of
of that, right? Eventually, we give it enough time, it's going to be all of those things. We may actually see a little bit of the leftover moisture from Allison, but certainly no significant effect, even for you folks who are concerned about the beach areas. Doesn't look like anything at all to speak of. Maybe a little bit of a breeze. A little bit of ocean air will be in on us. Outside tonight, we have sort of a fuzzy moon. You've seen a fuzzy moon, right?
Yeah, several times.
That's right. Live long enough, you're seeing everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Few high, thin clouds out there. Actually, the exhaust from Allison, you liked that one too, Barry, didn't you? High temperature today, 82 degrees. The moisture in the high clouds 2 days ago, that was inside of Allison when it was a hurricane. Now it's been downgraded to a tropical depression. 70 degrees, we've got a light southeasterly wind. Actually, that wind will be kicking a bit more into the east tomorrow, so I think we'll see some low clouds in here, and pollen count today was up to 63. Let me show you the latest, first of all. Here we are in Washington. This has been the last 24 hours. When Allison came ashore near Apalachicola, minimal hurricane, and you can see how a lot of the circulation has fallen apart, and now what's left of it is just causing some rain showers. It's now become a tropical depression, just a plain old low pressure area. We'll be on the northern fringe of any moisture, so tomorrow afternoon I think there's a chance that we may see a few sprinkles, a few light rain showers. Here we are in Washington. There's the regional radar. Let me take you in a bit closer and show you the last few hours of the radar from down around Georgia. And you can see the leftover circulation. These greens are areas of moderate rain. Actually, the rains were pretty heavy. Albany, Georgia had 3 inches of rain, and Tallahassee over 5 inches of rain. But you can see how it's broken up a lot. There are some rains, sort of the feeder bands out around Cape Hatteras. But even there, winds are only 15 miles per hour. So again, want to emphasize for you folks concerned about the coast, even though it'll get its feet wet again by late tomorrow night as it moves out over the Atlantic, shouldn't be causing any problems. Weather watchers have reported just some high clouds, tapped into our Four Winds network too, and temperatures in and around town, 69 degrees at Taft Middle School, a bit cooler out to the west, South Jefferson Elementary in Charlestown, 61 degrees. Out over the eastern shore near Salisbury, 64. Even at Ocean City, the winds will only be about 20, perhaps 22 to 25 miles per hour. So certainly nothing out of the ordinary. An easterly wind shouldn't be causing any problems. While Allison and what's left of it will be moving away, the next big weather maker actually is out here. This has been causing some snows in the mountains and a lot of energy. Also a wave in the mid part of the country as it moves to the east will be kicking off some heavy showers, thunder showers, but as that happens, we'll get back into southwesterly winds by the day on Wednesday and Thursday and be back to some summer-like humidity. So overnight tonight, look for those high clouds that we have gradually increasing a bit as we get later into the night. Temperatures by late tonight into the low 60s, few spots in the high 50s. Tomorrow, a lot of clouds around. We'll have an easterly breeze with some of that maritime influence. Our temperatures, I think, only in the 70s. And again, I want to emphasize just a chance for some light showers tomorrow afternoon. Nothing to worry about. You folks to the south may see a likelihood of showers, I think, as a matter of fact, southern Maryland, Fredericksburg, in the 70s. Then what's left of Allison moves away. The clouds move out, and we'll see a lot of sunshine, although we'll be getting back into a bit of the humidity. Not so much on Wednesday. Temperatures Wednesday about 80 degrees, but by Thursday and Friday, we'll be back into southwesterly winds. So temperatures on Thursday and Friday, I think, will be well up into the 80s to near 90 degrees. Hey, we're almost heading into the middle of June. It's going fast, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Fun? I want to tell you. And then the weekend, we may see an afternoon shower or thunder shower, but for the most part, so it looks like sunny, warm, and humid, and no problems from Allison.
That's good news.
Good.
Thank you, Bob. Georgia Sports next, Michael Chang, trying to survive all those upsets over at the French. Stay tuned.
How you doing, man? How you feel?
I'm okay, George. How you doing tonight?
I feel like H-E double toothpicks.
Why?
Because I'm dying. I got a bad cold. You really feeling all right? Good.
I'm fine, George.
Could be worse. You could have been facing Randy Johnson tonight.
Ooh.
Randy Johnson of the Seattle Mariners pitches a 3-hitter. He struck out 12. Mariners shut out the Orioles 2-0. Johnson is unbeaten now, 6-0 dating back to last July. Let's go to Camden Yards. We're in the top of the 6th. There's no score. This is Jay Buhner off of the man, Ben McDonald, to deep left field, a 2-run home run. There was no doubt about that one. Ben McDonald gives up his 6th home run of the year. Those were the only runs of the game. If you missed that at-bat for Jay Buhner, you missed the offense of the game. Randy Johnson, boy, he was awesome tonight. He tossed a 3-hitter. He retired the last 17 he faced. The last man he had to face in the night, Cal Ripken of the Orioles, and Randy Johnson sets him down on strikes, ending the game as the Mariners shut out the Orioles 2-0. Randy Johnson was just outstanding. The Giants of San Francisco are the best fielding team in the National League. Today they brought out the Boo Birds as they lose to the Mets 7-2. Now watch this first play. You're the left fielder on the play, okay? First of all, this is Kelly Stinnett, who will send a drive to left field. Now the question is, what about the left fielder, Barry Bonds? Barry, you going to get the ball?
Whoa.
He stood there and watched. He said, well, I thought it was going to be a home run. Yo, Barry, that ball was catchable. The Boo Birds were out big time.
Yeah.
Eventually, they would catch David Segui and tag him out at home by Kurt Manwaring, but the fans were still booing Barry Bonds when he came to bat in the bottom of the first. So Barry Bonds is up. He'll send a high pop foul outside of third. Edgardo Alfonso will come over. Edgardo, be careful. You see the lady in the red? That's a very attractive blonde there, going for the foul, and nails him. Nails him right in the head. And he didn't get the baseball either. So, I mean, what do? You say, excuse me, would you like to meet and talk it over? I'm sorry, or whatever. Mets beat the Giants 7-2, and the Giants were awful. For all the scores 24 hours a day, dial the sports machine at 202-362-4444. In the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, the Devils took a commanding 2-0 lead in their Eastern Conference Finals. They defeated the Philadelphia Flyers tonight 5-2. Two-time defending champion Sergei Bruguera trying to become the first man since Bjorn Borg to win 3 straight French Open titles, advanced to the quarterfinals today, as did former French Open champion Michael Chang. Oh, what a match with Chang. Let's go to Paris. 6-seeded Michael Chang. That's he in the center of your court. He's in the far court, serving to the 12th seed, Michael Stiek. Michael Stiek at the bottom of the screen. Chang and Stiek, it was a game of cat and mouse. Oh, and Michael Stiek with a tremendous backhander. It would be a cross-court winner. These two would take it all the way deep, as Stiek would win the first set 6-1. They would end up going 4 sets, and Chang would then take over. Michael Chang receiving in the far court. Stiek with a drop. Chang is there. Chang with an overhead slam as he celebrates a little bit with his mom. Michael Chang wins in 4 sets over Michael Stiek. Here's the best point we've seen all day. Best point of the day, two-time defending champion Sergei Bruguera in the near court, serving to Magnus Larsson. Larsson, at the top of your screen, will get Bruguera and make him work. He's got Bruguera going, you know, Bruguera wants to come to the net. Larsson with a great return. Oh, what a good play by Bruguera. You've got him going back and forth until finally Larsson puts it away. Larsson would win the point, but Sergei Bruguera would advance to the quarterfinals in 4 sets. You didn't cheer.
No.
Why?
Because he acted like a punk out there today with a line call. The ball was clearly in 2 inches in. He acted like a fool.
Haven't you missed John McEnroe?
Yeah, I missed John.
Okay.
John did it with style.
Did the Magic show up the Pacers last night? Let's take you to courtside at the end of the game. Now, the Pacers say that they were showing up big time by the Magic. I want you to know before we get to anything, we went back and looked at Game 6. In fact, the Pacers did not celebrate on the court. However, last night, Mark Jackson, after watching this celebration by the Orlando Magic, said, folks, they don't have class.
To whom it may concern, it was unprofessional and lack of class. That's not the way you do things, and I have no problem with them. They're an excellent basketball team, but that just wasn't right.
They were up 33 points, and I can recall Mark Jackson and Reggie Miller in the game as the clock expired up there in Game 6. So I think the thing was that we're a young team, and Coach Hill wants us to enjoy this. You know, you're not promised to come back next year, and Mark really can't be mad at that. You know, he's a great player and everything, but that's not anything to get mad about.
Anthony Hardaway of the Magic spent some time this afternoon with former Redskins coach Joe Gibbs, now the head of the Joe Gibbs racing team. We talked about this incident right here. John Andretti said that he was hit by Craven. John Andretti clearly lost control of his car. It set off a chain reaction involving 19 cars. I asked Joe Gibbs, an owner, to give me his perspective.
It's awful. When you get rolling like this at third lap, everybody's going hard, and something happens like a freight train. You can't stop it at that point.
How did Bobby Labonte miss all this?
Thank goodness we were starting up on the front row, actually third, and when you get up that far in front, you're only seeing 2 cars in front of you. If you're back there in the back, 19th or 20th, and this happens in front of you, this looks like a wreck on the freeway.
Joe Gibbs would then see his man Bobby Labonte come on to finish second behind Kyle Petty, who gets his first win since '93. The great thing about Bobby Labonte is he had never won a Winston Cup race until the Winston 600. He follows that victory with finishing second yesterday at Dover. Congratulations to Kyle
That ain't
Petty.
too shabby.
No, sir.
Thank you, George. Coming up, a report on the risks of radon. Stay tuned. Model Christy Brinkley left a hospital in New York today with her newest baby, an 8-pound, 6-ounce boy. Brinkley and her husband, Rick Taubman, have not announced a name for the boy yet. It is Brinkley's second child, her first daughter, by former husband Billy Joel, who's 9 years old now. Brinkley herself is 42 now. The latest now in the medical condition of actor Christopher Reeve. Surgeons at the University of Virginia Medical Center say they successfully pieced together 2 shattered vertebrae at the base of his skull. Doctors say the operation will eventually allow Reeve to sit up in bed. But doctors say the surgery will do nothing to help the actor regain his ability to move or to breathe on his own. Reeve was paralyzed after he fell from a horse during a riding competition in Culpeper, Virginia. There's a new warning tonight about radon. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that escapes from underground rocks and soils. It seeps into homes from the ground. And tonight, a study in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute says radon may cause about 14,000 lung cancer deaths in the U.S. each year. The authors caution the study is not conclusive, but they say it shows that all homes should be tested for radon. Arch Campbell up next. Stay tuned. Michael Crichton's novel about deadly monsters in a lost city of diamonds, all that kind of stuff, comes to the big screen this weekend. It's called Congo.
Congo. Yeah, one of those Michael Crichton novels.
Yeah.
Congo begins with this big corporation sending a team over to Africa to find the lost city of diamonds. The team finds it, but just when they establish communications, these monsters come out and eat them up. Ooh, so the fiance of one of the guys goes over to find out what happened. She's played by Laura Linney. She meets guide Ernie Hudson, plus scientist Dylan Walsh, who has taught a gorilla to talk, and the gorilla told him she wants to go home to the jungle. And I like that line. And Tim Curry, who wants the riches the diamonds can bring. Curry's dialogue is so bad, most of the audience I saw Congo with laughed at him every time he opened his mouth. See what you think.
First they found the diamonds. Solomon's men. A diamond mine of incredible bounty. Then they built the city around the mine so that it should be protected. The savagery of the guards was a legend. They instantly fell upon any thief, any transgressor. And the diamonds flowed to the kingdom of Solomon.
Well, what happened? Why did the city die?
I don't know.
Maybe the mines ran dry.
No, no! The diamonds are here!
This is Congo, a real movie with bad dialogue, worse acting, and the most confusing script of the year. They're talking gorillas, monsters, and lost diamonds. This thing is laugh out loud bad. In fact, Congo rates right up there as one of the all-time movie dogs.
Oh, my.
0 and a PG-13.
Oh, my. Wow.
It could be the year's single worst movie.
My. Blade Runner Revisited. Tonight Show. Oh, my.
Well,
But you just a few months ago, Gator.